Hello, and welcome back to the Ninox Learning Channel by Nioxus. My name is Andy. I'm a Ninox programmer and trainer. And in this class, we have something very exciting to go over, and that is the new Ninox Document Management Module, a new upgrade created by Nioxus Corporation that allows you to add document management, OCR, workflow automation, and all sorts of advanced document search, redaction, and editing features right inside of your Ninox database. This integrates with any version of Ninox and any database that you've created. Let's go ahead and get started. What I want to do first is show you how the eFile cabinet solution works, and then we're slowly going to go through the 6 easy steps necessary to connect any Ninox database to the Ninox Document Management Module. Here we are in the Jackson Real Estate Company, and we have our employees table. I'm going to go ahead and create a new employee. We'll put in the first name, we'll start with Mr., and we'll put in the first name, middle name, we'll skip, last name, a name we all recognize, no suffix, male, gender. I'm going to skip Social Security and department, but of course we could put all of that information into the system. So here we have the very basics of an employee file. This could just as easily be a customer file, a vendor file, students, subcontractors, patients, clients, anybody or anything that we manage in Ninox can be part of the document management solution. So here we've set up some raw basic data about an employee that works in our real estate company. This is eFile Cabinet by Nioxus. This is the new document management solution for Ninox databases. It's a simple system to set up, an incredibly powerful system to use. Let me show you. I'm simply going to go in and click this button to configure the filing structure for this particular employee record. In Ninox, we talk about a data structure, a database with tables and fields and content in those fields. In eFile Cabinet by Nioxus, we talk about a different type of structure, a filing structure, consisting of filing cabinets, drawers within those cabinets, and folders and subfolders within the drawer. I'm simply going to refresh my screen, and we can now see that a file cabinet for Jackson Real Estate has been built automatically by our Ninox database. There's one drawer inside the cabinet for employee files, and one folder for the employee that we just set up. Now, as I mentioned, you can have an unlimited number of subfolders to make it easier for you to find the exact things that you are looking for. We're going to go into this particular employee's file, and I'm going to apply a template. In this case, it's going to be the HR template. When I apply this template, you'll now see that these 5 subfolders have been created for this employee. And as I said, anything that happens in Ninox happens in eFile Cabinet, and it goes the other way also. Anything that happens in eFile Cabinet is instantly reflected in and understood by Ninox. So now let's go ahead and file some documents in the filing system. Now, as you saw just a moment ago, I set up a subfile, a set of 5 subfiles within the primary folder for this employee. I'm going to go ahead and select the onboarding subfile. I'm going to choose a file right here from inside my Ninox screen. I'm going to select a document, and that's all there is to it. If I go back now to eFile Cabinet and again refresh, when I go open the drawer and the folder for this particular employee, one of the folders is showing content, and sure enough, it's the exact content that we just dropped in. Let me show you some other cool things in the integration, and then we'll get into how to actually get these two systems to work together. I'm going to create another employee, and for this one, we're going to have Mr. Ferrari's chief rival, Ferruccio Lamborghini. And once again, I'm going to click the button to set up the files for Mr. Lamborghini. Let's see what we did. Back to eFile cabinet, refresh, and sure enough, now in addition to the folder for Enzo Ferrari, we have another folder in the employees drawer of the Jackson Real Estate file cabinet for Mr. Lamborghini. Now let's say in this particular instance, we don't want to just load the document from the Ninox side. As I said, anything you do in one of the systems is going to instantly be reflected in the other. I'm going to go ahead and grab a number of documents and drop them all into the file for Mr. Lamborghini. I'm going to grab some pictures. I'm going to grab all sorts of information, including Excel databases and documents. So we've got documents and JPEGs and PDFs and Excel spreadsheets. I can load them one at a time, or I can drop them in dozens at a time. And when I go back to this particular employee record and click this button, I can instantly see the contents of all of the individual files. If these files are stored in subfolders, I'll see the subfolders, and I can then drill down to find the exact file that I'm looking for. That's really the basics of eFile Cabinet by Nioxus. The ability to set up filing cabinets with an unlimited number of drawers, folders, subfolders, everything we need to keep track of all of the information that we have in our Ninox database. And the reason this is so important is because information or data content will often enter our business as a form or a report and ultimately exit our business as a form or a report. But when it's inside our business, it's data content that we need to manage, enhance, secure, and maybe even transform into information and business intelligence. So now we have this data solution sandwich. Documents come in, the content of those documents is automatically stored in our database. We can use the database to create forms and documents like invoices and purchase orders and patient intake forms and any sort of form or document, and then have that document automatically stored in the right drawer of the proper cabinet in the right folder or subfolder, with the advanced search capabilities making it easy for us to find exactly what we need anytime we need it. So how do we make it work? Let's look at the integration. As I said, it's 6 very simple, easy steps. The first step is to set up the global function, the central engine that allows these two systems to connect to each other so seamlessly. This very tight integration that you've just seen. We're going to go into the desktop for our database, select Options. We're going to go into Global Script Definitions, and you're going to go into your eFile Cabinet Toolkit and copy all of the code that is called Global Function. Simply copy that code and paste it exactly as you copied it right here into this global function. Step 1 is now done. Let's move on to step 2. For every table that you want to connect to eFile Cabinet, you're going to do the following things. First, we're going to create a new formula called File Portal Access, just like this formula right here. You're going to go into your EFC, your eFile Cabinet Toolkit, and you're going to copy all of the code that's labeled File Portal Access. Copy that code and paste it right here into the formula for the File Portal Access formula that you just created. And then go under More Options and null out the display. This is not something you ever need to see. We just need to make sure it's in the database. Step 2, now complete. The next step is to actually set up these objects right here. The ability to see what's in the folder, check the subfolders, choose files. All of this is done using a very specific piece of code. And that code is the File Portal Access folder. So let's see how we do this. I'm going to copy this code. And let's pretend this hasn't even been done yet. The next step is to, again, create a new formula field and paste the code that comes out of the eFile Cabinet toolkit that you've been provided that's called File Portal Access Button. Remember, we just pasted the File Portal Access code. Now we're creating the buttons that use that code. So you're going to want to go into your toolkit, grab all of the code, select it, and copy it under the heading File Portal Access Buttons. Come back here, create a formula, and simply type in or paste that code right here. And this is what we're going to get. We're going to get this formula, which looks just like that. Now, because this is a formula, you can do some formatting if you want. You can shrink it down and make it 2 lines like that, or spread it out and make it 1 line. We can go in and hide the formula. I'll just give this a name. This is our File Select button, but I'm going to hide that. I'm going to go into the Style feature, and using the code 237, put this on what is basically an invisible background and make it nice and big so I can see it very easily. Then I'm going to grab this formula and drop it right into position, and there we go. Now we have everything we need, so when we click on this button, we can see our subfolders. When we select a subfolder, once you've selected a subfolder, you can then click the Choose File button to choose whatever file or files you want to paste into the folder or the subfolder that was created here in the eFile Cabinet by Nioxus Ninox Document Management Solution. Let's review very quickly. Step 1, we pasted in the global function. Step 2, we pasted in the File Portal Access function and hid it here in this table. Step 3, we created a new formula and we pasted in the HTML call to the File Portal Access code. And when we pasted it in, it put these new objects right into our Ninox screen. The next step, I want you to create a button. The button can be of any size. You can label and name the button anything you want. Add file, add folder, update filing system. I have chosen to create a button that is as small as I could make it, and I've simply put an emoji, a filing icon, as the text for the button. Now, what this button does is it places a call out to the global function that connects the two systems together. There's nothing for you to code. Go ahead and go into the EFC toolkit and select the code that says call to global function. Copy that 1 line of code and paste it right here in the on-click section of the button you just created. It'll look a little bit like this. Now, there are a number of parameters that are being passed to the new file doc global function that you pasted in step 1. We're going to talk through those parameters in just a moment. But for now, simply go ahead and paste the formula, click OK a second time, so you're back at the desktop. Step 5 is now complete. The last thing I want you to do is once more go back to the eFile Cabinet toolkit. This would have been delivered to you when you ordered the new upgrade module. And find the code off the main menu that is called Folder Contents. Folder Contents. Copy all of that code. And once again, go under Layout Element and click to create a new button. Like the first button we created a moment ago, this button can be any size, any color. It can be as big or small as you want it to be. You can label it any way you want. I've chosen the recycle label on a button that has been made as narrow as I could possibly make it. I created the new button, and in the On Click section, pasted that final block of code that we just copied out of the eFile Cabinet toolkit. Step 6 is complete, and you are now completely operational, and your database, at least the employees table, is fully integrated with the employee files drawer in your company's file cabinet. Let's go back to Ninox because there's a very crucial point that I want you to understand. We have just connected the employees table to the employee drawer in our file cabinet. The file cabinet corresponds to the database. The drawer for employee files corresponds to the table here that has all of our employee files. And each folder in that employee file drawer corresponds to each record in the employee table in our database. This is how we map and build a data structure in Ninox that integrates perfectly and in real time with the file structure in eFile Cabinet by Nioxus. It's a perfect seamless integration. But the thing I want you to remember is we've only integrated the employees table. You can pick which tables in your database you would like to connect. Let's say you have a database with 15 tables in it. 4 of those tables, employees, customers, vendors, and subcontractors. Those are the tables that have all the people that are part of your business world. And the 5th table, inventory items. That's the stuff that you buy and sell to keep your business going and growing. Each of those 5 tables can be independently linked to a different drawer here in the eFile Cabinet by Nioxus Ninox Document Management Solution. We can have a drawer for our employees. We can have another drawer for our inventory. We can have a drawer for vendors. And we can have a drawer for customers. And each one of these drawers can have any folder or every folder you want corresponding to the records in your Ninox database. And each of those folders can have as many subfolders. You also see here on the right that you can pick and choose which data elements in the Ninox database should be linked to the data elements that are connected to each of your files, each of your folders, drawers, and cabinets in the Ninox Document Management Solution. Now, how did these fields get here? In fact, how did any of the information get from this database into the new Ninox Document Management Solution, eFile Cabinet by Nioxus? Let's go back and look at those parameters once again. Here we see a call to that great big global function. The very first thing that we pasted, step 1 of that 6-step integration process. This call to the global function passes a number of parameters. almost 24 in total. Let me walk you through each parameter so you understand how to set it up so it works the way you want it to. The first parameter is the name of your cloud team. This is the name of the team in the Ninox cloud that contains the database or databases that you want to integrate. If you want to link multiple databases, each database will become its own file cabinet, and every table in the database that you connect will simply become a drawer in that cabinet. The first parameter is a text field enclosed in double quotation marks that is the name of your Ninox cloud team. The second parameter is the name of the database. Parameter number 3, the name of the table. And parameter number 4, the numeric representation of the unique ID number assigned by Ninox to the current record. This is crucial. You must use the ID function and you must use the number function so each record in Ninox can be correctly linked to the proper folder in the proper drawer in the proper file cabinet in the e-file cabinet by Nioxus solution. These next two fields allow you to define how each folder is going to be named. I have chosen for our folder to be named with the last name first, but I want the last name in all uppercase, followed by the first name. If we go back and look at our e-file cabinet solution and go into the employee files, that's exactly what we have. The two employee folders we set up, Ferrari-Enzo, Lamborghini-Ferruccio. The last name first in all uppercase, followed by a dash, followed by the first name. This number in parentheses is the ID number of the record in Ninox, and this set of digits at the end is the ID number of the folder here in the e-file cabinet Ninox Document Management Solution. All you need to do is define the 1 or 2 parameters that you want to use to name each folder. Ninox will do all the rest for you. So that's what this parameter and this parameter are about. We then have 20 more parameters. These 20 parameters are in 2 sets of 10. The first 10 parameters are the names of the fields that you want to link between your database and your filing system. I've used up 2 of my 10 slots. Here we see the other slots are just represented as nulls or blanks. I want the first field to connect, Social Security number, just the last 4 digits, and the second field to be the department. So what that means is the last 4 digits of this field and the text value of this field is going to show up here in these 2 fields on the other side, on the document management side. So now I can search for any document by any piece of data in my Ninox system. Maybe I want to look for an invoice by invoice number. Or maybe I only know the last 4 digits of the invoice number. Or maybe I only know the date when the invoice was cut. All of those become search criteria because all of that data in your Ninox database has been passed over as a parameter and connected to the metadata, the additional information here in your Ninox database. Continuing on. Again, those first 10 fields are the names of the fields that you're going to connect from the Ninox database to the e-file cabinet metadata system. Now remember I said that these parameters exist in 2 sets of 10. The first 10, right here, are the names of the fields they're going to connect to the data content in the eFile cabinet by Nioxus solution. The second set of 10 are the actual contents. These are the actual fields that contain the data that you want to pass back and forth. So let's look at this. The first field I created was called SSN with 4 number signs. The second field I created was called department. These were text values, and I know this because they're enclosed in double quotation marks. We see here in our document management system, those are exactly the 2 fields that have been created. SSN with 4 number symbols and the word department. Then that second set of 10 parameters are the actual fields themselves. This is how your database and your Ninox Document Management Module know which data goes in which fields. If I make a change here in this field, the systems know that whatever is here needs to show up in this department field here in the document filing system. Similarly, the value in the Social Security number field, the last 4 digits need to show up in this field. The first group of 4 fields is basically defining the structure of your system. The name of the cloud team, the name of the database in the cloud team, the name of the table in the database, and the ID of the record in that table. The next 2 fields are the naming fields. This is completely up to you. You can use 2 or simply use 1. I've chosen to use 2. The last name and the first name with a dash between them. That's how I want the folder for my employees to be named. Then the 2 sets of 10, up to 10 fields in the Ninox record that will correspond to 10 data fields on the filing side of our solution. And then the second set of 10, the actual fields that contain the content that goes into the fields that were named in this first set of 10. You can now copy and paste this code to any button in any table in your database. So let's take a moment and see what that would look like. We're going to start completely from scratch. I'm going to create a new table. We're going to call this inventory, and I'm going to put in 2 fields. The item number and the item description. We're going to go ahead and save that. Now what we need to do is we're simply going to take the elements that we pasted into employees, move them over to inventory, and literally in a matter of a few minutes, inventory will be fully connected to its own drawer in the file cabinet in the Ninox Document Management eFile cabinet by Nioxus system. Let me show you what I mean. We're going to start by going into File, Portal, Access. We select all, we copy. We go into Inventory, create a new formula, paste the block of code into the formula, and name the formula File, Portal, Access. And again, remember, you can go ahead and hide that formula field. We just need it to be there. We don't need it to be visible. The next step, let's go back to employees and let's copy the code for the button. Copy, back to inventory, layout element, create a new button. And I will call this button Folder Setup. And I will now go into the onClick parameter and paste the code. Now these parameters are from the employee connection. The employee table connected to the employee drawer and the employee folders in the Ninox Document Management Module. It's the same call. We're calling the same function, but we need a different set of parameters. The first parameter does not change. It's the same cloud team. The second parameter does not change. It's the same database. But the third parameter, this is now going to be inventory control. The next parameter is the numeric value of the unique record ID. Doesn't change. Remember these next two fields, these next two parameters are the first and optionally second segment of the name of each folder. We don't need a last name, but I am going to use the item SKU and the item description. For the two sets of 10, I'm simply going to pass null values. I'm not going to set up any fields because you saw me do that just a moment ago. So let's review what we're doing here. We're making a call to the file document global function. That's the very first thing we pasted. This cloud team contains this database. This database contains an inventory control table. These are the IDs of the records in that table, in that database. And for every record in that table, in that database, I want you to create a folder and name it item SKU dash item description. OK once, OK twice, save, and let's see what we did. We'll create an item with an item number and a description. A gift set consisting of a men's hat and a pair of gloves. Click the button to set up the folder, and now in eFile Cabinet, we see our Jackson Real Estate cabinet, but there's a new drawer for inventory control. That drawer contains a folder for this particular inventory item. As we create new items, maybe we'll have a ladies gift set consisting of gloves, hat, and sunglasses. Click the button and go look at our filing system, and sure enough, here in inventory, a second folder has been created. If you want, you can create subfolders for purchase orders, shipping notices, invoices, stocking tickets, any of the documents that would be associated with these pieces of inventory. If you want to integrate other tables, like a subcontractor's table or a vendor's table, maybe you have additional tables in inventory for subassembly. Any table in any Ninox database can have its own drawer and its own set of folders and subfolders with this wonderful filing system by simply creating a button and pasting the code that we give you in the EFC, the eFile Cabinet by Nioxus toolkit. And that is document management in Ninox. We're very excited to release this module. We believe that document management adds an entirely new level of features and capabilities to the data management solution that is the amazing Ninox database. If you'd like more information, go check it out at www.ultimatedatasolution.com. That's Ultimate Data Solution, no spaces. Or contact us here at Nioxus. We'd be happy to set up a demo and answer all of your questions. Please stay tuned to the Ninox Learning Channel. Next week, we will be releasing new videos for both Ninox and eFile Cabinet, where we will be talking about things like zonal OCR, workflow automation, auto filing, integration of your filing system with email, and a host of new Ninox topics as we continue to explore these data solutions. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being part of the Ninox community. I do hope you'll come back next week. In the meantime, build some great Ninox databases, stay safe, stay healthy, and come back and see us again. Bye-bye, everybody.